What's up everyone, it's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Please follow my Instagram at Russo Lifts, just in case something happens to this YouTube channel. You can follow, message, and you can watch my daily story content on Instagram. I'll see you there. What is up everyone, it's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Today's ASMR sip is just a vitamin aid. Let's get right into it. So today's topic is going to be, the damage from steroids is caused by blank. Short story short, prolonged exposure to high dosages. So I'm trying to rewire people's brains on, where the side effects are accumulated, how you should really go about approaching enhancement, and just, my theory, right? I see a lot of guys, recommend 16-week cycles, and that's kind of been the norm forever. But in my opinion, a shorter blast would yield a lot less side effects than a prolonged blast, right? I talked about in the past how it's like enhanced bodybuilding is so many steps forward, so many steps backwards, so many steps forward, so many steps backwards. So the whole goal is to take as many steps backwards as possible, aka change your set point muscle. So I can easily maintain around 230 on super low dosages, whereas 2 years ago, super low dosages, I could maintain around 211 pounds. So my set point has changed over the years. So you can say I altered my genetics or whatever. All I'm saying is, like, you don't want to be redlining androgens to maintain a certain weight 24/7. The exposure to the high amount of androgens is what's stacking up the side effects. So you can see in the most extreme example of that, I'll have Andrew throw up Tony Huge's video where he discusses the mass blast, which, I don't agree with everything Tony says. I do like the theory behind it of, like, get in, get your results, get out, back into a cruise, harm mitigated. Don't do this prolonged exposure to that extreme amount of dosages. But in reality, a short exposure to that extreme dosage of androgens in a short condensed time frame isn't really going to add up side effects wise, because the side effects take a while to accumulate. In reality, a 16-week blast of the same dosages, you'll get more results, but the damage will be multiplied. So what is this getting on about? This is getting on about people need to realize that these physiques they create enhanced are looks. They're looks. They're not maintainable forever, and really you should only be, creeping up to a look that is maintainable on low dosages, aka you bulk, you go on an extreme blast, then you go back into a cruise, bulk, go on an extreme blast that's short term, back into a cruise, until you are cruising at the base muscle you want, basically. So the long-term method of maintaining this physique is attainable, right? So you would use the GH pathway to cause hyperplasia with whatever you want, and then you would creep up, do a little blast, gain, go back into a cruise, take a little steps backwards, creep, do a little blast, gain, go back into a cruise until you're at the set point muscle you want that you can maintain on a cruise, if that makes sense, right? Versus what a lot of people do is a big 16-week blast, super physiological dosages for an extended long period of time. You can say what you want about, getting burnt out as far as the androgen receptors, if you believe that or not. All I'm saying is, where do you go from there? When you start fucking around with those dosages, where do you go? And really the damage is done with the prolonged exposure to the extreme dosage, meaning if you did short little blasts and went back into cruises, constantly maintained your biomarkers, in my opinion that's a healthier approach. Are you going to look freaky and crazy all the time? No, but you're going to get to this new set point muscle that you can maintain on a cruise that's way better from a longevity and biohacking standpoint than constantly having to blast. So all I'm saying is you only have so many blasts in the tank. You see a lot of guys say you only have so many blasts, but in reality you do. And if you do these prolonged blasts, they're gonna add up. They're gonna do twice the amount of damage as doing a short little condensed blast going back into a cruise, right? This physique I have right now, I could cruise on 165 to 250. I'd probably go down to 220, and I would be able to maintain that on that dosage from my years of creeping forward, creeping back, or creeping forward, and my set muscle changing. If I wanted to cruise on that amount 2 years ago, I could probably only maintain 205 on that dosage of 250 a week. So you can see where I'm saying is like, even if you want to compete. So with me, I wanted to compete, right? So I know that when I compete, I'm going up against people who are doing crazy cycles. I know I'm going up against people with superior genetics. So I know I have to out shred everyone, out condition everyone, and I need to have enough tissue to hit that stage weight. So my set point muscle, I need to like not be redlining my body just to be above the stage weight. Meaning right now I want to hit a 195 pound stage weight. Well, I'm just chilling, blasting a little bit of EQ and blasting a little bit of Sustanon, less than a gram a week right now, and I'm completely filled back out at 230 on low carbs, ready to creep down and hit a 195 stage weight when I go into a blast, when I refill, resaturate all the cells back up with all the androgens. Why can I do this? Because I did that crazy bulk to 265 pounds. All that satellite muscle nuclei built up, and I'm gonna reactivate it at a much lighter weight, which is gonna make me look bigger at the same weight as someone who is redlining, you know, their body in a bulk to get to 230, and then they cut back down. They don't have nearly as much AR buildup, muscle nuclei buildup, or satellite cells build up as me. And other people do this as well. This is why, you know, when we look at the GOAT that I'm not comparing myself to, but when we look at Chris Bumstead, he sits up at 270 and steps on stage probably around 225, right? So the question would be to him is like, why not just, you know, sit up at like 240? If you have to, you know, hit this stage weight? Well, the answer is Chris wants to have the biggest look at that weight. How you do that is you sacrifice muscle and you just bank on all the muscle nuclei you build up, bank on the satellite cells you build up in the off season at that extreme weight. And then when he hits that stage weight, he looks way crazier than someone who sat up at a lighter weight to hit the stage weight. That's why his back thickness is ridiculous. That's why he's that massive at that weight, is because he knows the game he needs to play as far as where he needs to be in the off season to look the biggest at that stage weight. And obviously Chris does not care if he sacrifices some tissue into the prep. He'd rather sacrifice tissue for conditioning than sit up at a lighter stage weight, make the prep easier, but he won't come in as big looking. So I hope you guys understand that it is truly a marathon, not a sprint, if you're trying to perfect an enhanced physique that is maintainable in the long run, right? You got to get those bulks done with. Constantly redlining your body to be shredded in this enhanced peak is not good for you. That's where the damage is adding up, right? You want to get it to a point where, yeah, you're still doing your blast. Yeah, you're still taking, you know, pushing it to the max, but you're getting it to a point where the physique in your mind with your muscle dysmorphia that you want to maintain long term is maintainable on a cruise, not a blast, right? You don't want to have this blast look in your mind, because that is where the damage is done. You want to get it to a point where, you know, you're cruising and you're maintaining the weight you want. You're cruising and you have the muscle nitrogen retention you want. And that comes with, you know, taking steps forwards, little steps backwards. You do these big crazy cycles, you sprint forward, where do you go from there? So I hope that kind of, you know, gives my theory on how to gain muscle and to keep it long term when using PEDs and enhancements without exposing yourself to these high dosages for long periods of time, because we all know how that ends. I'll see you guys in my next video.